A few weeks back, I made a video talking about my dislike for long supers. Surprisingly, there was a lot of responses, so as I promised, I'll be going over your comments and ranking your suggestions of short and sweet supers. But before I do start, I want you to know that the stuff being said here is my opinion, and no way, shape, or form am I thinking less of yours. I enjoyed most of the feedback as it reminded me how different people's preferences can be. Variety is nice and important for progress. Alright, let's give this a go. じゃよく法天神 High kicks that launch the opponent to the heavens are never uncool. Also, this move reminds me of Kim's Hyo Hitenkyaku. Solid stuff. Soul Calibur 5 Siegfried's wasn't that bad of a super. You're right, it's not too shabby. I feel like the supers from Guilty Gear Strive are perfect. They have amazing startup animation with the climax of the move being in-game and not a cutscene. I think Guilty Gear Xrd and Strive made those design choices because it was a necessity. Since the game allows you to roam and cancel everything, you need the hits to happen on the playable plane. That's why they usually have a short zoom in that immediately pans back out. Out of all the 3D animated games, Guilty Gear has made the best 2D to 3D transition in my opinion. Akuma's KKZ and Third Strike awakens something primal in me every time I see it. Goki's Kongo Kokuretsu-zan is a move that doesn't directly hit the opponent, but it's strong enough that the shockwave hurts the enemy. Also, the first hit cannot be parried, so this is one of the very few moves in the game that can create checkmate situations. It really shows you how powerful the character is. I approve. There were a few comments talking about how it's not fair to compare level 1 and level 3 supers. That was not the point of the video. The factor in question is length and not how strong an attack is. Although, I did forget to mention another important factor along with length. How often do these long supers occur? In games like Street Fighter 6, they happen quite often. You're likely to see Super Art 3 or Critical Art once or twice per match unless you play characters like Rashid or Ed, where using Super Art 2 can be more effective. This adds to the annoyance factor for me. If it's rarer to see like Guilty Gear Xr's instant kills or Under Night In-Burst Infinite Worth EXs, I think I wouldn't complain as much, because those actually feel special. Most SNK supers prior to the Samurai Spirits reboot and KOF 15's climax moves are short and sweet. Kyo's Saishu Kessen Ogi no Shiki from 97-98 is simple but beautiful. Even though it's really just an extended multi-head Dokugami chain, it's one of my personal favorite supers in KOF history. And all the SNK Ranbu type supers are gorgeous, brutal, and don't overstay their welcome, with King's Max Illusion Dance and Iori's Yaotome and Saika being my personal favorites. Even one-hit supers have a lot of dramatic effect and are the epitome of short and sweet, like Ralph's Galactico Phantom, Daiden's Neo Max in 13, or Shenwu's Zetsu Gekiken. Funny thing, both Kyo and King's supers that you mentioned were considered for the original video. I ended up cutting them because I felt like I was having a little bit too much KOF. SNK really did a good job with their supers. Also, I'm going to call you a nerd because you have all the move names down, instead of calling them things like punch and kick supers. Good stuff, highly approved. I like cinematic supers, even if they are a bit long. Fighting games need their flair. A character having a cool ass super is cool to all the players, casual or competitive. In my opinion, a fighting game can't be all substance. A little style is important too. The thing about this is that flair and style can come from smaller things. This pose after hitting a certain move. That's flair. This walk? That's style. This voice line?
Where are you going? Sweet dreams!
That's character. Also, I consider flair and style to be a huge part in actually playing the game. Consider me your slightly above average Guilty Gear Xrd Ino and Street Fighter 6 Chun-Li player. Do my characters have as much style and flair as, let's say, Marlin Pai and Goichi? No. Because Marlin Pai has both the mechanical and strategic prowess to make Ino move in ways almost no one else can. Goichi has the defensive skills along with the inhumane reaction times to make Chun-Li look like an iron wall. To me, if a character is well designed, the player actions become that style through flair. While it is by no means short, Guilty Gear Xrd Foss Super does attempt to make its longer super less tedious and more bearable by making some of the wait time given to a minigame that both players have to engage in. And the other half is shorter and more comedic than cool character moves. This is probably one of the exceptions in my book as well. For people who aren't aware, Foss Overdrive, once hit, creates a pick the angel under the rotating cup game. If you successfully pick the angel, Foss takes damage instead of you. If you pick one with death, it'll do varying amounts of damage based on the color. This plays along with the random and oddball style of the character and creates a unique experience. I do like this one despite its length. I'm still wondering why people think Jin Super in Tekken 8 is bad when it's the shortest and with the least unnecessary stuff ever. I'm siding with the people. 10 seconds to do 2 punches sound pretty unnecessary. Also, the middle part is a bit too corny for me. I like all supers. Fair, you're the type that enjoys a lot of things in life. I'm very envious, and it's a good trait to have. To be honest, I was half expecting you to slip in one Darkstalkers or at least VSAV supers since they don't have super flashes and some of them don't even have cinematics. Then again, that's probably the reason why they weren't included. You know, I did think about it. Since I played Dimitri, here's my favorite meter move from him.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
It's a command grab that's just like Golki's Raging Demon, but it turns every opponent into a woman. The special part is that every character has a different sprite. Incredibly detailed. That game is truly a labor of love.
Come on, baby.
People called me crazy when I said this back when Street Fighter 4 dropped. They just ruined the flow of a great combo into Super, and it's gotten even worse since. FADC Shoryuken into Shinku Hadouken still looks cool, but Supers in Street Fighter 6 feel completely disconnected from the match. I did think of this for some ultras in Street Fighter 4 like Golki's Rafflecopter, but most of them were good to tolerable. There is a best of both worlds solution here. See, cinematic supers are really cool, especially for the casual player base, and I wouldn't want them to go anywhere. It's the biggest, coolest move a character can do, and it allows the animators to really sell us the character here. So what you do is have an option you can tick in the menus. Enable short supers, where if both players have it checked, then it does essentially what all the YouTube edits do and cuts out everything but the last hit, or some other elegant solution that trims out 90% of the super without changing any of the gameplay impact. Sadly, it does have to be for both players to prevent desynchronization, and I would rather rule in favor of people who want to watch them rather than those who want to skip them. Just make it very clear to the player after several matches that there is a short supers option. I wouldn't mind a solution like this, even though I don't think it will ever happen. I mean, imagine developers admitting they spend a huge part of their budget on things some players don't like. Anyways, I'm assuming it's going to be like skipping intros in Tekken. One person can skip intros and the other person can annoy the opponent by not skipping theirs. By the way, if you do this, you are a smelly butt in my book. Cable's time flip from MVC2 and Dio's bloody summoning from HFTF are two of my favorite short but incredibly effective supers.
Time flip.
Supers that create clones are awesome, especially if you can control the main while the other attacks. It's a shame that this move doesn't get used very often in competitive playing. If only it had better frame data and damage. Ooh, the finger in the face is definitely bloody. As a person who's a bit squeamish, this super does give me an unnerving reaction. The problem for me though, as a person who's never cared for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I have no idea why a pop-up of the image of what I assume is the stand is necessary. I don't even see it in the super animation afterwards. Although I do like the voice. Whee! Street Fighter 6 justifies super length because your drive meter refills during the animation. There's gameplay advantage to the longer animation. Well, you're right, but at the same time, drive meter can simply recover a chunk on the last hit, or just recover at a faster speed with shorter supers. There's plenty of methods, you know, they just chose to make it long. They have a function, lets you breathe and think how to survive. Do you really need a break in a round that's about 30 to 90 seconds long? That's pretty weak. I'm kidding. Remember to take a break every few matches or stretch, your body will appreciate it. For me, I'm just salty that I got hit, so I want to immediately clap back. My favorite short is Sui's supers, Hinata and Itachi's super counter, in the Naruto Clash of Ninja games. Install supers with a special mention going to all transformation in the Budokai games, Wario Man in Brawl, Smash 4. Use Shin Shoryuken from Tatsunoko vs Capcom, the voice actor goes in, but I like Gouken's whole kit in Street Fighter 4 as well. Bonus points for any super which allows someone to combo afterwards. Unfortunately, I know nothing about the Naruto and Budokai series, so I'm not even sure which move you're pointing at. But I know a little bit about TVC, so let's check out that Shin Shoryuken. I am a big fan of this move. This is why I put the Third Strike version in the original video. A lot of the new renditions make this a 2-hit super, but I prefer the original 3. Also, you're absolutely right about the voice actor. He went quite hard.
Shoryuken!
My favorite short super though is probably Master Roshi's original Kamehameha level 3 super. Some iconic posing that references the original manga into a big beam with a lot of oomph. It's dramatic enough to have emotion and quick enough not to halt the game. Absolutely my favorite super in modern games. I do like the cuts that refer to the source material. I'm also a big fan of the small detail where he lunges his face forward before throwing the Kamehameha. Dragon Ball FighterZ has some excellent fan service. Off topic, you should try pistachio ice cream if you haven't already. It's super delicious, but more importantly, it has a similar color as your seahorse and arcade stick. Every time I see your symbol over the years, I crave it. Pistachio is a delicious nut. I don't think I've had pistachio ice cream before, but I've had it in gelato form. Delicious. We'll have to see if my nearby ice cream shop carries it. One of my favorite supers is Duo's level 3 in most KOF games. It's just one epic punch. No side stuff, no wasted time. Just a massive gut punch that knocks you across the screen in less than a second. The bionic arm style supers are a good example of this. One big powerful hit is awesome, especially if the opponent wall splats or spins unnecessarily.
This is still a good matchup. Oh, he gets hit. Rocket Punch Super. Oh, nice by Mar. Nice. Keep it basic. That's not gonna work.
That's too far. He's gonna do bionic arm.
Bionic arm.
OTG. Bionic arm. Giving Sid. He has another chance.
He's done. He's still in it! Bionic! Oh! Combo V! 3-0! Combo V takes it 3-0! Martin Fan! Martin Fan with the look of disgust!
Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for all the comments, and I'm sorry if I missed any. There were quite a few, and for some of them, I simply didn't have the knowledge or access to the footage. Alright, until next time, have fun with fighting games.